Hey everyone, Ben here, and today we're going to be shining a light on the darker side of iRacing, in particular on those driver behaviours that can ruin the iRacing experience for everyone. Let me know what you think of this list in the comments and add in your own examples if you think I've missed anything. Okay, let's start with sticking your nose in to a closing gap. Now this is something I've been guilty of a couple of times in recent weeks, and I'm leading with these examples to show that this isn't the kind of video where I'm just throwing stones at others. In this example at the Red Bull Ring and the one that follows at Portimao, I was guilty of not backing out of an incident that realistically the driver in front would struggle to see coming and was always likely to end in disaster. On the face of it, these things can look like racing incidents, and perhaps in some cases they can be. But the truth of the matter is, if you're coming from a long way back into a corner where the driver up ahead has to commit to his racing line and where you will very likely be entering his blind spot as you lunge forward, then you're asking for trouble. Ayrton Senna famously said that if you're not going for a gap, you're not racing. But it's a big risk into corners like this, and you can ultimately ruin your and other drivers' races in the process. In some series on iRacing, you get a fast repair, meaning if you pick up a meatball flag, there's a big incentive to get your car back to the pits pronto, and you can minimise any time lost. There's nothing inherently wrong with doing this. However, if like this F4 driver, your car is uncontrollable when you do so, you risk jeopardising the races of drivers all around you. That's what happened during this session at Long Beach, made worse by the fact that the driver in question would not cede positions and was determined to drive as quickly as he could without a rear wing. All he served to do was nearly wreck 3 other cars, pick up a load of additional incident points, and then get himself disqualified on the pit entry. Good job. Now this one is an online sim racing classic. Surely at this point everybody knows that if you have an incident, the best thing to do is to hold the brakes and stay still until you have a clear track. And yet in the heat of the moment it seems we can all forget that sometimes. But as the examples on screen highlight, it remains one of the most dangerous things you can do on track, often giving the other drivers around you zero opportunity to navigate the original accident and catapulting many more cars into the shadow realm as a result. Now I get why drivers try to be clever sometimes at the beginning of a rolling start. You only have to watch the occasional safety car restart in Formula 1 to see drivers trying to eke out an advantage on their rivals in doing so. But those are some of the best drivers in the world, racing in a series where driver etiquette is heavily scrutinised and policed. If you try this stuff in your average online grid, even if you stay within the letter of the racing rules, then the chances are you're going to cause absolute mayhem and confusion further back in the field, and in doing so wreck drivers' races before they've even begun. But of course some people do think that they can win the race in T1. In fact, they think that they must, even if it means driving off the circuit to do so. This is an extreme example, but we've all sadly seen this kind of thing before, and it never ceases to be infuriating when it does happen. Of course, it is entirely possible to have a fantastic wheel-to-wheel race on iRacing, as my recent session at the Hockenheim Ring, now on screen, highlighted. If you're looking for a pick-me-up after this list of shame, go check it out now.